Yo, what up, guys? I actually watched this movie last night. I picked up at Grindhouse Video, The Barn. One of the movies I was most excited to check out. I've literally heard nothing but good things about this movie. I haven't heard one bad thing about it. And the very first line in the description is Dread Central's top 5 horror films of 2016. And I wish I'm kicking myself for not seeing this before. I thought this movie was perfect. We're getting a lot of throwback stuff recently. I mean, Terrifier's trying to be a throwback, Stranger Thing, all this stuff's wanting to be a throwback. I think Lost After Dark was trying to be a throwback slasher, and you had Final Girls and all. This nails that whole vibe to a T. All the outfits look good, all the vehicles, the settings, everything looks straight out of the 80s. And I was expecting this movie, since it is an indie movie, it looks a lot better than I was actually expecting it to look. I mean, there's a lot of grain, intentional grain, but even just the cinematography and the camera and the sets looked a lot better than I was expecting. I was literally blown away. I was shocked. But essentially, what this is there's a urban legend that if you knock on this barn 3 times and say trick or treat on Halloween night, these 3 characters will come and kill you, basically. And there's the Boogeyman, which is the head guy, and Scarecrow, or Candy Corn Scarecrow, and Hollow Jack. And I gotta say, they looked awesome. I mean, the Candy Cane Scarecrow, he was looked as normal. I mean, he looked pretty normal. He's just a scarecrow guy with a sack over his head, and he kills people. And you see him a few times, but there's a cool kill with him and one of the kids in this tent in like a cornfield. Hallow Jack looked really badass. There was one of the only computer effects, which you don't even notice it's a computer effect. Was watching the behind the scenes and found that out. The flames and stuff, and it looks really cool. But the star of the show is the Boogeyman. The effects I thought were really well done, really reminiscent, I think, of the demons of the original Evil Dead. Like there's some shots where the Boogeyman's like looking at him through a hole in the barn and stuff, and it was actually kind of sinister looking, but in a really good way. And when they morph from the like when they knock on the barn and they come up from the boards and stuff, there's like it's like almost, imagine the special effects of the puzzle box in Hellraiser and the first 2, you know, where the yellow lights and stuff and all that, those same exact kind of effects. So it actually added a lot of charm to it, because this is trying to be like a VHS from the 80s. So it added to it. I thought the effects for what they were trying to achieve were perfect, super well done. This movie is the most Halloween atmospheric movie I've seen. I think this movie feels more like Halloween than the movie Halloween. This would be a really good pairing with Trick or Treat, because Trick or Treat felt really Halloween-like to me. But this one is definitely going to be essential Halloween viewing now. I'm going to watch this Halloween and every Halloween after that. I absolutely love this movie. I give this a 10 out of 10. I had insane amount of fun watching this. But back to the plot. Sorry, I got off a little track there. But so basically they do that and they're on their way to a metal concert, and they decide to go trick-or-treating before the metal concert, and that's where they knock on the barn. So basically, while they're trick-or-treating, these 3 guys, they're the 3 boogeymen pretty much, they're trying to find these kids and dispatch of them. And there's like this, it's like a concert going on they go to before the metal concert for this like locals town's Halloween fest or whatever. And it's like this rockabilly band, but there's this badass massacre, just slaughter in this place. That looked really well done. It was really cool. And that also leads me to another point. That's what I'm going to say storyline, because that's the general plot. I mean, it's a slasher pretty much. And what's really cool is, I don't want to get into anything about the ending, but there's some cult-like stuff that was really reminiscent to me of Hack-O-Lantern. But yeah, I give this my fullest recommendation. I don't have a single complaint about this whatsoever, and that's rare. I don't have a single complaint. Ari Lehman is a cameo in this as the rock. He's like a TV. Trying to think of like a MTV Headbangers Ball type thing. That's what he is. and he's who introduces this metal band and kind of gets the plot going to where these kids are heading to that concert, and he does a pretty good job. And if you don't know who Ari Lehman is or however you pronounce his name, he played the kid Jason in Friday the 13th Part 1 at the very end. And Linnea Quigley has a cameo, something you wouldn't expect from her. She's like a church holy roller. So it was cool definitely seeing stuff like that. But like I said, this is the most Halloween feeling movie I've ever seen. Just no complaints whatsoever. And I know Terrifier blew me away, and that was an indie film. And then this blew me away, and it's an indie film. So far, these indie films have been blowing me away more than high-end studio films. So I think that's pretty interesting. Because there's usually, when I watch a lot of indie movies, they're not as good as I would really want them to be. They don't live up to the hype. This lives up to the hype, trust me. If you're any kind of 80s horror fan, this will live up to the hype. I guarantee it. Now, this is the first time I think this is released on Blu-ray. It was only available on DVD and VHS when it came out. And if you have the DVD or VHS, I'd suggest keeping it, because the way this is shot in the grain, it really probably would have been more better to watch this on VHS, to be honest with you. But I'm glad I got the Blu-ray copy. There are some scenes where the Blu-ray detail really stands through. It just all depends what kind of viewing experience you want. You still get that VHS feel to this, so I'd recommend picking up the Blu-ray too. I mean, the transfer is pretty good, but like I said, there's a lot of deliberate grain, a lot of deliberate fading, a lot of deliberate, there's a lot of cigarette burns in this, a lot of stuff like that, but it's not like an iPhone filter type thing that you could tell it's fake. It's really well done. It actually looks aged. And this was a passion project from the guy who directed this, which I found out in the special features. I think these are new features. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure they're new to this release. There's an audio commentary with the director, The Making of a Nightmare, which is a 50-minute documentary behind the scenes. And it's one of the best behind the scenes featurettes I've seen on a release so far. It's literally has like the quality of, and it's even the intro and the way characters are introduced the same exact way they're introduced in the Nightmare on Elm Street, Never Sleep Again documentary. It's done that same exact way. Like when a character is introduced, it shows them narrating a line of their dialogue over the script, and then you're shown the person, just like the Nightmare on Elm Street. So I thought that was really well done. I watched it right after seeing this, and I expected to like turn it off after 20 or 30 minutes, the making of, because usually you'll just see stuff like whatever, it's just like a camera in the back or whatever. There was actually some production value and stuff put into that, and I know it's and also I know it's a new featurette to that documentary, because they talk about doing the sequel. They're gonna want to do a sequel. They're talking about how well it's done over the 2 years it's been out. They talk about the screenings and stuff. So there's a lot of info that's really cool in it. There's a few deleted scenes. There's an alternate ending. There's trailers, a Harvest music video by Rebel Flesh, which I'm assuming is the rockabilly band in the movie. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I didn't watch the music video. And then there's a short film called All Hallows Eve that was the inspiration for this. And he did it in high school, and it was actually kind of well. It was better than I thought it was going to be, actually. I thought the ending shot was pretty cool in it and stuff. London premiere reactions. It's cool that they threw it in, but I didn't enjoy it. I thought the guy interviewing the people was kind of lame. That's just my opinion. I mean, the dude was just kind of weird. And he was asking weird questions. I don't know. There's that whole segment I wasn't really a big fan of. That's the only special feature I thought I didn't like. And there's commercials. The commercials for this movie, or the trailers, I love. There were throwback commercials that were just awesome. Like, totally felt like an old Vestron trailer from back in the 80s and stuff. And I also gotta say, there's a commercial for the video game. One of the best modern commercials I've ever seen. It was just, I can't even say it enough. It just straight up felt like the 80s, and that's what you want in a movie like this. Only includes Spanish subtitles, which I think is a shame. I wish they would have included English subtitles, but whatever. And then to finish this off, it is only a DVD or a Blu-ray. It didn't come with a DVD copy, but that's okay. Because of the reverse artwork by Graham Humphreys, who did a lot of artwork back in the day for like Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff like that. But I feel bad not switching it to that artwork because it was supposed to be like a big drawing point, Graham Humphreys. But I love the original artwork so much that I'm keeping it the OG artwork. I just think I love that artwork a lot better. This artwork, I feel like it represents the feel and the tone of the movie better than the reverse side does. But yeah, if you don't have this, you need to pick this up. It's not even I recommend picking it up. It's like you need this in your collection. I know I was one of the people that, I probably was the last person in the world to pick this up. I'm pretty sure everybody has it by now. But if there's anybody that doesn't have this, seriously, pick it up. I mean, nothing more I could say about it. I give this my highest praise. You know, I've been on a good run of watching movies recently that have been good. I mean, that and Terrifier blew me away, you know. And I got a bunch more to watch in the future that I'm going to be reviewing here. Either today or tomorrow, probably tomorrow, I got the new anthology that actually... Oh, one more thing I want to say about this. Last thing. Soundtrack is amazing. I want to order the soundtrack to this for sure on vinyl. It's one of the old drummer for Evanescence, but it's a really John Carpenter-esque score that sounds amazing. Alright, that's all I'm going to say about that. But back to 1031, an anthology film I picked up too that I'm going to review. That was only on DVD, but I hope it has the feel of this to where it won't matter. But it has a segment by the director of this, and I think the guy who did the music for this did a segment in this too, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he did. So I've heard good things about it, and this movie got me super hyped to check that thing out. So anyways, guys, look for that review coming up in the next 2 days. Anyways, guys, peace.